when we meet people, we always look for like our common denominator. Mm-hmm. So then we're just like, okay, what's the lowest common denominator we all have? We all have trauma, you know, but very few people all have Dharma. And you're in a room of all people who have Dharma, and we all have a Dharma, but like know their Dharmas, are excited to know their Dharmas, aren't triggered by you living your Dharma, that are like, fuck yes, I want to see you shine. Like celebrating you that you made 10K 10 weeks out of starting to coach, you know, not like, oh my God, who do you think you are? But like, tell me more. Yeah.
It's exciting. And it's also just, it makes you see what's possible too, because I'm inspired by the other people that I've met through DCI. Like I'm inspired by them. I'm like, wow, if they're able to dance on social media in a sexy, sultry way, like that gives me permission to do that. Yes. Or if I'm able to talk about an incredibly difficult, traumatic experience I had because they did, like it gives me almost like this permission to feel like I can too. And so the community is, I love the community.
Welcome back to the Highest Self podcast. My name is Sahara Rose, and on this podcast, I love to talk about spirituality, purpose, matters of the heart, and make it really accessible. My journey really started with this question of, what is my soul's purpose? What is my Dharma? So the word Dharma is an ancient Sanskrit word. If you've ever practiced yoga before, those yoga postures you're practicing are in Sanskrit. So the concept of your Dharma is that we are each born with a unique soul purpose. And that purpose is not just a career that we have or a role that we play or one project that we work on, but rather I see it as our unique blueprint. It's our energetic frequency. It's that magic sauce that we bring to everything that we do. So, you know, like certain people, you can just tell it's them if you just looked at their Instagram feed and how they dress and how they talk and their home. It's like, it has their vibe to it. Like Frida Kahlo, we can all imagine right now, like what her Instagram feed would have looked like what her home looks like, what her art, her music, her everything. I feel like I have that as well. You can kind of see today, a friend texted me. She was like, I had a dream of a hot pink lightning strike in the sky. It reminded me of you. I was like, thank you. Very on brand. So you can see here, it's like your Dharma is felt. It's a resonance. So for example, in my career, I started with writing books and then starting this podcast 7 years ago, and then doing group coaching, online coaching, creating my Highest Self Institute, which you're going to hear about today, and then DJing and producing and writing music, which my new album just dropped now, actually, as you're listening to this, My Body is an Altar, but it's all part of my Dharma. You know, from like the modern lens, we might be like, oh my God, those are all like different things. They don't make sense. But actually, it's all part of my soul's frequency. It's all part of who I am and how I'm here to serve and show up in this world. So what living your Dharma allows you to do is to be more multidimensional. You know, the Industrial Revolution caused us to be really hyper-focused on just doing one task day in and day out to satisfy a corporation that didn't see us as humans, but really saw us as machines in this greater machine that's just serving capitalism. But the beauty of today is we have kind of moved away from this, like first the agricultural revolution and the industrial revolution, and then the information age. And now we're actually into this conceptual age. So the conceptual age is you're not paid based on, you know, the information age was like the dot-com boom. So you were really paid on like, do you have a 4-year job thing? Do you, I don't even like diploma. I have one. I'm like, what are those called again? BA? What was that? I don't even use it, to be honest. I went to Boston University and it doesn't even matter in my life. Like what matters in my life is how I transmute life's obstacles and share them with others, period. Like that's my school. But back in the day, it's like, do you have your master's? Do you have this? Do you have that? It's like you had to do all of these things, climb this corporate ladder, climb this educational ladder to open your mouth to eventually, you know, maybe be important enough to share something. But it's like, for me, if I'm going through a divorce, I want to talk to other people who've gone through a divorce, like not someone who like read a million books about it, but hasn't experienced it themselves. If I'm going through anxiety, I want to talk to someone who has felt anxious, someone who's been in my shoes and how they went to the other side. That to me is who I can truly learn from through life experiences, which are enriching in such a different way. So this conceptual era that we're in is really about taking life's lessons and sharing it with others. And the people who are really going to thrive in this conceptual era are the ones who are able to synthesize all of the information that's out there. Like now we don't need a 4-year degree to know things. We have Google. In fact, we are overwhelmed by how much information is out there that we don't even know how to make use of it. So the people who are able to say, okay, here are all the possibilities for you out there. You could do this, that, but like, let's tune into what you really want to do. Like what actually matters to you? Like, what is your story? And how can your story be used to help others? Whether it is through a coaching career, whether it is through speaking on stages or workshops or writing a book, a podcast, whether it's through planning events, whether it is through, cooking, whether it is through creating a preschool, whether it's through creating a beauty product. Like there are so many ways that we can be solutions to the problems that we once had. And that really is what our Dharma is. We are here to be the very solution of the thing that we were like once praying existed. And for me, what I was praying for, especially when I began this journey, was like, how can I make money doing what I loved? I had honestly never met anyone doing that. Like in my family, women did not work. I come from the Middle East. So there was a lot of patriarchal oppression. You were here to kind of like serve your husband. And then the men had these very overwhelming jobs, lots of like my family, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, but always working, always working. My grandfather, in fact, died in his early 40s from having a series of strokes from overworking. My dad, to this day, 72 years old, constantly working. So I saw it's either like you work all the time, burn yourself out, and that's how you're a productive member of society, or you have to find a husband who does. And in my own journey, I went through a divorce. Had I not had my own business to fall back on, I would be stuck in a marriage where I was not being respected. I would have had to deal with betrayal. I would have had to put up with something that no human should have to. And I would not be here speaking to you today. So I am such an advocate of women making money doing what they love, not becoming men like, yes, I'm wearing a little blazer, but it's a hot pink one because I'm a woman and I have a pussy and I bleed. And guess what? I'm fucking badass and I make millions of dollars and I'm a bad bitch and I'm spiritual and I'm a priestess and I'm a lover girl and I'm all of the fucking things. And that's what this new era is about. You don't have to put yourself into one box. And in fact, the more you are your full self, people can feel that resonance. They're like, I want some of that too. And that's what we teach people at Highest Self Institute. So you've probably heard me talking a lot about my coaching institute, Dharma Coaching Institute. So I've created a new company, Highest Self Institute, that encompasses the Dharma Coaching Institute program, as well as embodiment coaching. So that's actually using embodiment, expression, and emotion to transmute trauma and heal the nervous system. We teach people on soul business mastery, creating businesses, books, podcasts, corporate speaking engagements using coaching. And we're creating a human design curriculum. So it's all under the Highest Self Institute. And I love every single time we open doors, which doors are open right now to become a certified Dharma soul purpose and spiritual life coach, to bring on one of my favorite students. And today you are going to be seeing one of them. She actually became a Dharma coach in 2021. So 3 years ago, and her life radically shifted. And, she's been in my life in various ways. Like when you're a part of Dharma Coaching Institute, like you are part of the fam, and witnessing her blossom and her also going through her own more recent upheavals with her divorce. And this also being the thing to fall back on. It's like, I just keep seeing, for women especially, it's like living our dharmas is our saving grace. Like when shit hits the fan and there's so much uncertainty and there's so much unknown, when we can take all that energy and put us into our purposes, we skyrocket. We make more money. We have more creativity. We have more just like courage and confidence in this bold way of showing up when you just stop giving a fuck and living for someone else. And you stop dimming your light for someone else. And you stop being so obsessed with making everyone else comfortable because that's how we're conditioned to be as women. And instead we start living for us. we become so freaking magnetic. And that's what I have loved witnessing in Kenya. And I've loved witnessing in so many of my students going through whatever transformation life it is, but it's definitely a big breakup and divorce season for many of us. And when we are like, when we have this thing that's fully our own, that can't walk away, that can't betray us, that can't lie to us. It's like your Dharma is yours fully. And the more you put into it, the more you receive from it. And that to me is the most gratifying thing, that it's like, I made this, I wrote these books, I paid for all of this with my thoughts, guys. And that is the most incredible feeling. And before we drop into this episode, be sure to hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. That is the best way to stay up to date on the latest episodes. We've got this in video format, so if you're just hearing my voice, be sure to also watch our fabulous outfits on video as well on Spotify, YouTube, or the Apple Store. This is the best way to stay in the flow with future conversations and also allows the podcast to reach more people. So hit subscribe so I can keep vibing with you on all future episodes. Now let's get into this one. So without further ado, let's welcome Kenya here on the High Self podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. I've loved witnessing your journey over the past 3 years since you became a Dharma coach. So the first question I'd love to ask you is, what makes you your highest self?
My highest self when I'm speaking from my heart and my guts. As a recovering anxiety addict, I call it, I was constantly speaking from my mind. And when I feel fully embodied, I'm speaking from a deeper place. And that's when I know I'm speaking from a true place.
So take me back to the beginning of your journey when you decided you love working with people. So the thing that made the most sense is to be a social worker, right? Because that's, you got to work with children. Tell me a little bit about where you started.
Yeah. So I come from a family of high achievers. Every single female in my family is a teacher. My grandfather was an engineer, entrepreneurs, just very high achieving people. And so I inevitably thought that was what I needed to do. I knew I loved helping people, but I didn't want to be a teacher because every other woman in my family was a teacher. So I decided to pursue psychology. And then I went and got my master's in social work. And I was just following the breadcrumbs of life, became a social worker for Child Protective Services, thinking that I was going to live out what I knew my calling was, which was helping others, to find that it was incredibly unfulfilling and not satisfying at all. So that's what led me into the coaching space.
And so many of our Dharma coaches began as teachers, nurses, therapists, stay-at-home moms, the nurture archetype, which we talk about, the 9 Dharma archetypes. We have so many nurturers because you knew your Dharma was to work with people, was to help people, was to understand them. You knew you had the gift of empathy, but the way that we're taught is like that game of life. Like, I don't know if you remember that board card. It's like you pull a card. And it's like, are you going to be a teacher, lawyer, cop, or this? Pull a card. This is how much money you're going to make. And it's like, choose. Like, I remember my parents were like, you talk a lot, you should be a lawyer. So I thought I would just go to law school. And that's literally what I went to school. And then it's just like, no, there are so many ways that you can speak that have like nothing to do with this like extremely like corporate thing. So it makes total sense like why you would decide to be a social worker. Now tell me how you realized it wasn't a fit for you.
I just wasn't getting that like hits. I thought I would get this hits of like satisfaction every day. And instead I was coming home from work and I was incredibly irritable. I was super bitchy to the people around me. I was like, there's something that's off here. I'm not helping people in the way that I thought I was going to be helping people, or I'm not getting that feeling like I'm helping people in the way that I'm supposed to. And so I started online fitness coaching because I was just helping my friends and family get healthy. And I realized I was getting that hit that I was like seeking of like, wow, I'm truly making an impact because I'm helping people get healthy. And that's when I knew I cannot be in this corporate world much longer than I am. This is not fulfilling me at all.
I think a lot of people have that realization of, here I am. I worked really hard. I went to school for this thing. I, did practicing hours and all the things it takes to get into these positions. And then you're not satisfied. But then, I heard the story once of my friend's uncle, and he was like on his deathbed almost. And she was like, what's one of your biggest regrets? He's like, being a lawyer. She's like, but you've been a lawyer for like 50 years. He's like, I knew as soon as I graduated law school that it wasn't a fit for me, but I thought, well, I already went to law school. And then I decided maybe when I get the job, then, you get the job and then you make partner and then something else. And he's like, I should have quit right after doing law school.
That is such my story.
Yeah.
I thought after I got my bachelor's, okay, I'll go get my master's. I was so young too. I got my bachelor's at like 22 or something. And I was like, well, I'm not ready for the real world. What do I do next? I'll just keep going to school. As soon as I got into that field, it didn't feel right. But I thought, okay, once I get licensed, then it will feel right. And, it just continues on. And I'm fortunate enough to have caught it quicker than most other people to be like, you know what? Doesn't matter that I put in all these years, all this money, all this time. It's not lighting my soul on fire. I need to figure out what will.
And that's so wise of you that you were able to realize that exists. Because I think most of us don't think that exists. I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I really want to do something I love, I'm excited about. She was like, no one likes their job. Yeah. She's like, that's just what it is. You have to just wake up. That's just being an adult. I'm so glad I didn't take that advice, because it's like, even right now, it's like earlier today, I'm in a funk, I'm dealing with it. I get on this podcast, I'm in such a good mood because I love, there's nowhere else on planet Earth that I would rather be. And this is my job.
Yeah.
And when I'm coaching people, when I'm doing the Q&As in Dharma Coaching Institute, I feel that. And I think it's rare and it's still very much at the beginning, which is why Dharma coaches are so helpful, purpose coaches. When I say Dharma, I'm saying purpose. We're so needed because most people don't know that exists, that we become that light for them, that then they can become the light for the people around them. So tell me now, you started to transition into fitness.
Yeah. So I started to train my coworkers and my colleagues and classmates, and just for fun, just because I liked working out. And I realized that I was getting so happy watching them become so healthy. And I was like, well, that's interesting. This isn't even my life, but I was getting that hit that I was referring to earlier of excitement of yes, they're getting healthier. And because they're getting healthier, they're getting happier and they're making decisions that are better for their life. So I was kind of getting obsessed with that. And I was doing it on the side for fun. And I had a friend say, why don't you start online fitness coaching? Just start making money off of this. And I said, well, I can't leave the government. I just did all of this work. I'm getting married. I have to stay in this lane. And so I thought I'll just do it on the side for fun. It blew up in its first year. I started making double what I was making as a social worker with a master's degree, right? And I thought, wow, if I can make this type of impact and make this type of money doing something I actually enjoy, we're just reaching the iceberg. There's so much more that has to be out there than doing what I thought I had to.
Let's be real. The world needs more heart-centered women living with purpose and being handsomely rewarded for doing so. For me, stepping into my abundance, my voice, my message has been the thing that has transformed not just my life, but my entire family and lineage. Imagine how good it would feel for you to be able to share that wisdom in your heart and make an impact on other people's lives while being able to pay for your bills and your organic groceries from doing so. So if you're interested in creating a career for yourself as a spiritual or soul purpose coach, then DCI at my school, Highest Self Institute, is for you. Our step-by-step training teaches you everything you need to know to transition into a full-time career as a soul purpose coach. We dive into how to step into coaching, how to apply the Dharma coaching principles into any client relationship. So our 6 months look like this. The first 2 months we go into everything you need to know about coaching, how to have boundaries, agreements, what kind of documents you need, how to book a discovery call, how to create a coach-client relationship. We give really nitty-gritty information that no other coaching school gives out. Then for the next 2 months, you're going to be learning our proprietary Dharma discovery method. The word Dharma means soul purpose. So essentially, you are helping other people discover their purpose. With a lot of people resigning and leaving jobs right now, many people are wondering, what's next for me? And we Dharma coaches are the only people guiding that way because we go deeper into just finding another job, but deeper into who are you as a person and what makes you come alive and how can you create a career that embodies that. And many of our students have gone on to create full-time professions for themselves and been hired at companies, in fact, getting raises at their existing companies for being the internal purpose coach. We give you all of the tools, curriculum, and everything you need to hit the ground running as soon as you graduate. And then for the next 2 months, months, we dive into business, how to charge, how to choose your niche, the energetics of making sales, offers. I have 8 planets in Capricorn, so I keep it real in business. And we bring on the best teachers. You are learning from a multi-8-figure CEO on how to create your business. You're learning from someone who's written multiple books on coaching, and from myself, who wrote Discover Your Dharma. So you're really learning from the best of the best. We have been running this program for 4 years now and have successfully graduated over 2,500 coaches that have gone on bringing Dharma coaching into their lives and careers. So if you are interested, you're curious, you want to learn more about the program details, or book a free discovery call, just head over to highestselfinstitute.com. That's highestselfinstitute.com. This is now our parent company for the Dharma Coaching Institute and the leading spiritual coaching institute in the world. And we are so excited to invite you inside. You can find that link in the show notes, and we can't wait to invite you to the family. So, do you ever find yourself craving a getaway from the routine of life? To just indulge in a steamy fantasy world filled with hundreds of sexy stories? Well, if so, Dipsea is for you. So it's an app designed by women for women that brings scenarios to life. I'm talking about sensual little stories. Maybe you're into vampires, Greek gods, fairy smoot. Maybe you're a personal trainer at the gym. I mean, come on. Whatever floats your boat, Dipsea has a story for you. So why not make your road trip or maybe your kid pickup a little bit more enjoyable with a sexy Dipsea story? So they are offering an extended 30-day free trial when you head over to dipseastories.com/Sahara. Yes, that's 30 days of full access of sexy stories for free when you go to dipseastories.com/Sahara, and you can find that link in the show notes. I'm curious, what's your fantasy? And that was your foray into entrepreneurship, which what I love about being an entrepreneur is there's no cap on your income. You know, it's like once you get a taste of like, wait, I'm working less hours and I'm making more money. It's like, why would I go back to this corporate job? And again, I understand, like, for some people, they want the safety, they want the stability, and you don't, even to become a purpose coach, you can still do it in a corporate setting. But I find what's really exciting for a lot of people is that ability to choose your own hours, choose the kind of people you want to work with, and make more money.
Yep. Words out of my mouth. The people I get to choose who I work with. And that's the best part about this. I didn't get to choose the families and children that I served, and most of them didn't even want my help.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, they didn't want my help. And so I wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make, which is why I got into this field. And when you are able to, you know, start your own business, Dharma coaching or life purpose coaching, fitness coaching, whatever, you get to choose who you work with. And so those are the people that they want the help. And it becomes so much more satisfying helping those people.
Absolutely. So now flash forward me to 2021, you're listening to this podcast, you hear about becoming a Dharma coach, you sign up, like, okay, what made you say, yes, like purpose coaching is the next thing for me?
To be honest, I didn't really know if I wanted to be a Dharma coach. I wasn't really sure what that meant. What I did know and what I was attracted to was discovering my Dharma. And that's the greatest thing I got out of DCI was I discovered my Dharma. And I realized, oh, I don't have to be a social worker. I don't even have to be a fitness coach for the rest of my life. I can just be so in tune with who I am at that point of my life. And I'm a 3-5 in human design, right? So
heretic martyr.
Yeah. I need to go through trial and error, and then give my, my input. And I realized that I've gone through so much in life that I can be in a position to help other people that are going through that same thing. Anxiety, rape, divorce, right? All these things that I've experienced, I'm able to then help other people because I've experienced it and I've lived through it. And I don't have to have a PhD to be able to help someone overcome their anxiety or help them heal through their rape or whatever. And so, yeah, DCI just became very attractive to me. And I wanted to know how I could continue to live out this purpose outside of fitness coaching.
And when, because after you did DCI, you did our mastermind as well. And I remember you sharing your story and I was just blown away by your courage, and I was just like, who is this girl? And that's why, I've had you teach in my mastermind and having you here on this podcast. And, I feel like since you joined, it's like you're always in whatever I do, and that's like, because I felt your energy, I felt your story, I felt your heart, and it has nothing to do with what degree you have,
Yeah.
So did you ever have imposter syndrome around how can I help other people with their purpose when I'm not sure if I'm living my own?
100%. I didn't think I could until I did X, Y, and Z things, because that's how we were taught, right? You have to do this, this, and that, and then you can help. And I learned through fitness coaching, well, I'm not an expert in this space. You don't have my PhD and, all of these things, but I'm helping people cure their PCOS, 15-year-long depression, get pregnant when they've been told by their doctors that they'll never be able to get pregnant, right? I was helping these people and I realized, oh my gosh, I need to basically get over myself. I think, get over myself and realize I can help people even if I haven't done X, Y, and Z things. And it almost got to a point where I started to tell myself I'm doing a disservice by not sharing my knowledge. And when I adopted that little mantra, the imposter syndrome slowly goes away. Of course, it peeks its head every once in a while. But when you realize I have so much to give and I'm actually doing humanity a disservice by not sharing, it switches your mindset and you're like, I have to share everything I know.
And it's almost like you thought you weren't living your purpose, but you already were. And I think a lot of people listening to this, we think our purpose is this shiny, once I write the book, once I speak on a stage, then I am living my purpose. But how do you get there?
Yeah.
And it's and the getting there is the realization that you're already helping people. You were already helping people through fitness. But even before that, you were helping people through social work. So whoever's listening to this right now is think about who you already help. It could be your friends, it could be your colleagues. What questions do people continually ask you? I noticed for myself, people would always come to me when they wanted big picture life advice. So I noticed, I was I have this really good ability to kind of see their highest selves, essentially. And that's what led to me then being able to be okay, you could do this, you could do that, which is what led to Dharma coaching. So for the person listening right now is think about the 3 most recent people who've come to you asking for advice. What did they ask you for? Was it relationships? Was it, just holding space? They wanted someone to listen to them, your empathy, your ability to listen. Was it a problem solving thing? They really wanted help with a specific thing. Was it something creative? They wanted help with their branding or their photography or their social media. Was it their business? Was it their spirituality, their meditation, their mental health? So these are all things that then you can bring into purpose coaching. So I'm going to jump forward a little bit now because you realize the thing that you really loved doing was helping people with their purpose and transitioning that into a business. So can you share a little bit about how, once you graduated from Dharma Coaching Institute, you started to get all these clients from Dharma Coaching Institute, all these other students who were Kenya, how do you set up a website? How do you share on social media? How do you overcome imposter syndrome? That you found your niche through purpose business coaching. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to have a pretty successful fitness business right off the bat. And through DCI, I was meeting all these individuals who were they knew what their purpose was, or they discovered it throughout, the Institute, but they didn't really know what to do with it. They didn't know, how can I make money off this? How can I share this, from a logistical standpoint? And so I started purpose-driven coaching, which is the coaching business I have for individuals that know that they are here to serve others. They just don't know what that first next step is. And I love it. I love helping women make their first $5,000 to $10,000 a month. That, it makes me so fucking excited. I'm yeah, because it gives you the freedom, which obviously we know we'll get into, comes in handy. You get to a point.
And I love that. I feel a lot of times in the online space, you hear people make 6 figures, create this evergreen funnel that you never have to work again. I'm being honest with you guys. I have nothing to gain from this. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist that you're going to set up some evergreen passive income course that you don't have to ever do anything and it's going to make 6 figures overnight while you're with your yoni wand. It's selling an imaginary lie that people want to believe because inherently as humans, we are lazy. We don't want to put energy into things. So I see these people, they're oh, I need to figure out how to make a passive income course. I'm oh, if you want to start making 10K a month now, become a one-on-one coach. Because as a one-on-one coach, I tell all our students, guaranteed in the next year, if you actually go out there and use the tools and find your target niche and all the things that we support you with, you can very easily make 10K a month, which is a 6-figure salary, which is more than what most of the population is making, and probably more than your current job, and then it just goes up from there. So, and even till today, so can you share a little bit about, because you were telling me you had 1,200 Instagram followers when you started, but you were still making your full-time income from one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, that's the thing that people should know too. You don't need a massive following. You really don't. Of course, that helps, but you don't need that. I started my coaching business with less than 1,200 followers and no background as a personal trainer, mind you. I wasn't this well-known personal trainer, right? But I just started speaking my experience and sharing my knowledge and say, hey, if you're looking to get healthy, you're looking to lose fat, you're looking to, get more comfortable in the gym, do this, do this, do this. And the clients just kind of gravitate towards you. And when you start with one-on-one coaching, you're able to not only actually help someone reach their goal much quicker, but you can charge more too. You can make more money. And I was making my first $10,000 within 10 weeks of coaching, starting from complete scratch. No business background, no any background. And then, you're consistently hitting 12, 15, whatever, 20K months. And you realize that you're making such great money, but more importantly, you're making such an impact in the people's lives that you're helping. And it's like, it becomes addicting. You don't want to stop, and it doesn't feel like you've mentioned with it doesn't feel like work. It's fun. So yeah.
I so resonate with that. I remember, I was had a lot of imposter syndrome when I started coaching of who am I? And people won't take me seriously. I'm too young and all the things. And so I was trying to make money through blogging and putting ads on there. And it was barely enough. And then I put together a hybrid. It was one-on-one and group coaching. So it was 4 weeks. So I did a one-on-one session with each person at the beginning and at the end. And then for 4 weeks, there was also a group call every single week. It was called Doshas and Dharma. And I made $16,000 in 1 month. And that was way more than I would have made in 6 months, then. And I was like, holy shit. And I was 1 hour a week on these group calls. And then there was 16 or so clients. I want to say 15 or so clients. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know this was possible. What kind of job would it doesn't exist. And so that's what made me so much more interested. So what advice do you have for people right now that are okay, this sounds so amazing, but I don't know if I would be good at one-on-one coaching?
You're good enough already because you're already helping people. Yeah. You're already good enough. And waiting until you are this next thing is just prolonging you helping other people, which if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're someone who values helping others, right? You want to help other people in some way, and you already are. And like I said earlier, I had to convince myself by not sharing my message, I'm doing a disservice to humanity. And for me, that struck a chord because that's not what I want to be. That's not what I want to do here. And so I had to keep telling myself, by not sharing my knowledge, by not sharing my truth, by not sharing my story, I'm actually doing a disservice. So I have to.
Because had you not shared your truth and story, you wouldn't be here on this podcast. All of your clients wouldn't have gone. That's hundreds of people whose lives would have not. And then the ripple effects that all those people have. Had I not, I wouldn't have this podcast. It's we don't realize we create all of these self-limiting stories that get in our own way. And it's not even about us. It's spirit, the universe is here to use us as source wisdom consciousness to show up in the ways that our Dharma is meant to make these echo effects into humanity. But then our little ego selves are oh my God, what are people going to think about me? So did you ever have that fear of what are other people in the social work are going to think, oh, who does she think she is?
100%.
Yeah.
I had so many people in my life have so many opinions about the fact that I was posting on social media, that I was talking about fitness so much. And I mean, even some family members tell me what are you doing? You have a secure government job. Why are you posting on social media? Right. And
how much does your secured government?
Oh my gosh, I was making $55,000 a year.
Right. And they're how dare you ever leave that? Yeah.
And it's crazy. I'm
and then half goes to taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm busting my ass. I'm getting secondhand trauma by the nature of the work I was doing. And I'm not making hardly anything to live in Southern California. So I don't know. You have to really silence the outside noise. That's what worked for me. And I think that's why women that start and men that start their online business or whatever it is, you kind of have to go into this like hermit mode for a little bit. Because if you care too much about what other people are saying, you're going to start picking up on their own beliefs and opinions. And I find with the clients I work with that are the most successful, both in fitness and in business, are ones that kind of just go in for a little bit. And they're just like, I'm just going to focus on myself and do what feels right for me. And then watch what happens. Now, my little business, right? Everyone's asking, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. My family members are showing me off to the other people. Oh, look at my daughter, look at my, And so, yeah, you just can't really pay attention to that.
Do you hear this music right now? This is from my debut album, My Body is an Altar. This body of work is really the story of my metamorphosis after my divorce, diving into the depths of my shadow, where my artist emerged. My voice awakened, my sensuality blossomed, my liberation unfolded. I shed the conditioning of who I thought I needed to be and remembered the truth, the full spectrum of who I really am. Last year, I began producing and writing music. Every single song you hear on the album was created by me from beat to finish, infusing Middle Eastern and Afro beats as well as some reggaeton with lyrics you also feel good about getting stuck in your head. This album is really the journey of alchemy, a certain one that only heartbreak can give you to allow you to become the love of your own life. And my deepest prayer is that it supports you as you move through life's major initiations to remember that your body is the altar and the sacred site is you. So you can listen to it now on Spotify or Apple Music by searching my name, Sahara Rose, or My Body is an Altar. And I am so excited to share the depths of my soul with you. So if you're on wellness social media, you've definitely seen videos of people wearing those red light masks. And I'm sure you're wondering, what do they actually do and what's the best one? So red light masks help reduce wrinkles and fine lines, relax sore jaws, help with eczema, migraines, acne, scar tissue, wound healing, relaxation, ingrown hairs, and so much more. In fact, red light therapy has been reviewed in over 4,000 peer-studied reviews, with 400 plus being double-blind placebo trials, so you know that this works. I specifically love Bond Charge's red light mask. They've removed the circadian and sleep disrupting blue and green light masks from their red light mask. It has 0 EMF radiation, 0 flicker, and you can switch between near infrared light and red light in one device. They ship worldwide in rapid time and have super easy exchanges and returns. They also have other amazing products like low blue light bulbs, EMF protection products, infrared sauna blankets, and so much more. So you can get 15% off by heading over to boncharge.com/Sahara and using coupon code Sahara. That's BONCHARGE.com/Sahara. And you can find that link in the show notes. I feel like there's this redefinition of your friends that happens when you step into your Dharma, because your old friends knew this old version of you. Maybe you bonded around hating your jobs. Maybe you bonded around going to happy hour or mimosa brunch on the weekends and, complaining about your colleagues and that kind of thing. And then when someone gets out of it and they're no longer complaining, they're jazzed up. They're like, wait, who do you think you are? Because it's a mirror to them of how they haven't stepped into their purpose. And I find that actually when you step into your purpose, it's pretty hard to surround yourself by people who aren't. And then that's what's so beautiful about Dharma Coaching Institute is then you make new friends.
Gosh, I have made such incredible friends through DCI who I still talk to 3 years later, still meet up with. Like, that's the nice thing is, not only are you not going through this transition on your own, but you're meeting people who I'm like, oh my gosh, how come I didn't meet you like 10 years ago? Like, I feel like you're like my best friend, And with courses, I collaborate. I've brought on lots of people through DCI in my own coaching programs. And so now we're working together to share the common, goal of helping humanity heal and be healthy and live their purpose. So it's like, it's just exciting.
And I don't know if you know this. So you were in our first mastermind, you did Dharma Coaching Institute. Gabby, who is also in it, is our head of marketing now, and like Jill is our like pretty much like a CEO. And like, so every single person in our team was a student there.
Gabby was one of my fitness clients.
Oh my God. It's like, keep it in the fam. Yeah.
So yeah. Because we all have the same type of person.
And you were the head coach of my personal mastermind too, that I facilitate. Yeah. So it's like just the way the network is so incredible. And it reminds me of school. Like, I feel like in college, like that was the point. Like, that's why people go to college. It's the network. But the thing is, it's like, I feel like these colleges are so big. They're so broad. Like, okay, I went to Boston University. 60,000 people are there at a time. It's like, you don't really get to know people. It's so long ago. It's this old version of you. Whereas when you come together with Dharma coaching, we all want to live our Dharmas. We all are the rainbow sheep of the family. Yeah. We're all like very like entrepreneurial and self-sourced and positive and like, but also really fun. Like, I feel like there's just this vibe of like, okay, if you resonate with me, you're a fun person. Yeah. Okay. So we all just come together and support each other, that we're like, Keely is hosting retreat. So she brings on other Dharma coaches to teach at the retreat. And some, like, I've seen so many people start podcasts together, do IG live swaps together, write books together, like be on each other's, like when they do book launches, support each other. So yeah, I'm curious to hear more about like the community and the network and how that's helped you.
The closest feeling I got with DCI was probably when I was in graduate school, because I'm amongst a bunch of other psychologists, a bunch of other, social workers, and we all bonded, but we all trauma bonded, right? If you're in this profession, it's likely you've just gone through some shit. Like, not many people enter into that profession, without going through a lot of trauma. So I trauma bonded with a lot of people. DCI was the same type of feeling, but with a completely
Dharma bond.
Yeah,
Not a trauma bond, a Dharma bond.
You get excited because you're no longer talking about things that are sad. Oh yeah, you've gone through this too. You had a fatherless home too. Like, it's no longer depressing and sad in real life. It's like exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, we both have the same mission to help humanity heal, be healthy, live their purpose. Like, it gets exciting. The conversations are more fun, and yeah, Amanda Sevilla, who I know was on your podcast, she was my registered dietitian. And
Rachel Cohen's coming on.
It's just amazing. You get that feeling, but instead of trauma bonding, it's Dharma bonding,
Dharma bonding, guys. Don't Dharma bond, Dharma bond. Because when we meet people, we always look for like our common denominator. So then we're just like, okay, what's the lowest common denominator we all have? We all have trauma, but very few people all have Dharma. And you're in a room of all people who have Dharma, and we all have a Dharma, but like know their Dharmas, are excited to know their Dharmas, aren't triggered by you living your Dharma, that are like, fuck yes, I want to see you shine. Like, celebrating you that you made 10K, 10 weeks out of starting to coach, not like, oh my God, who do you think you are? But like, tell me more. Yeah.
It's exciting. And it's also just, it makes you see what's possible too, because I'm inspired by the other people that I've met through DCI. Like, I'm inspired by them. I'm like, wow, if they're able to dance on social media in a sexy, sultry way, like, that gives me permission to do that. Yes. Or if I'm able to talk about an incredibly difficult, traumatic experience I had because they did, like, it gives me almost like this permission to feel like I can too. And so the community is, I love the community.
It's been incredible. And we have our live events, the High Self Festival, which is coming up on April 20th, which is actually open to the public, but you'll meet lots of soul purpose coaches. We'll have some doing, okay, so we're going to actually have like a table of, so you should do it too, that we'll be giving little 15-minute experiences for free of getting Dharma coached. But it's just like when we all are together in person, it just feels so good, because I feel like what happens a lot in the online space, it's these pre-recorded courses. Nothing is live. It's like, go at your own pace. Let's be real. You do it for a week or two and then you never log on again. I have so many courses I've signed up for that I've never done. And that's why in creating the curriculum for this, I was like, we need to like hold people accountable, because it helps, So we have different live call times for you to choose from, which have different master coaches. So you can experience like different people's style of coaching. Live Q&A call that I'm on every single week, or Dr. Neetha, who's teaching a lot about like the coaching agreements and discovery calls and those kind of things. And our husband, Ajit Navalka, which teaches a lot about like business and pricing and niching. So like, you're getting 3 different founders, you're getting different styles of master coaches, you're getting different teacher assistants. So every week we have the modules that unlock. So those are pre-recorded. You can watch them at your own time. You can 2x them if you want. I know how it is, but take your notes. We have like journals now. Oh my gosh, you should see. We have like journals for every single thing with like questions and practice prompts and like lots of tools that you can implement. So instead of just talking about what's your niche, we have you go through exercises to figure it out. Instead of just talking about what do you say on a discovery call, we say the first 2 minutes talk about this. Then in the next 5 minutes, mention this. And then these are the questions. Instead of just saying, you can work with someone for 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months, we say, and now this is what each of your sessions could be in a 1 month container, in a 3 month container, in a 6 month container. So for me, I always, I like doing things my own way, but I like to kind of see how it's been done. It's almost like training wheels, I find. Like when you're a new coach, you're sort of like, I don't know, like this is so new for me. Am I doing it right? And the other thing that we do is a lot of practice coaching.
Just about to say, one of my favorite things outside of the curriculum were the pods, because you're able to, and sometimes it felt like free therapy. Like,
oh yeah, you end up being coached for like dozens of hours individually from the other students.
You learn so much about yourself, which I think is what helps you not only discover your Dharma, but like live it, because you're constantly being trained by your, colleagues or those that are in the program with you. And I discovered so much about myself in DCI, so much about myself. I mean, my life completely changed after it.
Totally, because when else in our lives are we on a weekly basis being purpose coached? Have we ever done that?
No.
Even you go to therapy,
no,
they're not asking about your, and it has its own role, but therapy is focused on the past.
Yeah.
It's looking at your childhood, it's looking at your wounds, it's talking about it. Purpose coaching is about, let's look at where you are and where you want to go. What's exciting for you? Like we have a tool called the Dharma Blueprint, which is my favorite tool. So it's like 5 different quadrants that you put together. What are your Dharma archetypes? Are you the artist, the entertainer, the entrepreneur, the researcher, the teacher? There's 9 different ones. You do assessments to figure it out. What mediums come through you? Are you into writing? If it's writing, is it like long form? Is it like books? Is it short form? Is it like social? Is it article writing? If you're into speaking, do you like to be more conversational? Do you like to speak more in person? Do you like to speak more on camera? If it's coaching, like what style of coaching is it? What are you excited about? We always say excitement are the breadcrumbs guiding you towards your Dharma. So what are the podcasts you're listening to? What are the conversations you're having? What are the things you're Google searching? If you could go on a retreat about anything, what kind of retreats would you go on? Like, what are the things that get your juju flowing? And I have found in my life, like the things I'm excited about end up being the next stage of my Dharma. So like me going through my health obstacles. When I was 21 years old, my body began shutting down. I lost my period for 2 years, had 0 estrogen and testosterone. My body essentially went to perimenopause. So I became obsessed with health, learning everything I could, not to teach. I was like, teach it. I'm like the one with the most problems of it, But then I became obsessed with it. I regained my period, became healthier, more vitality than ever before. So I became a health coach because I wanted to learn everything about it. Then I was like, how can I create a full-time career? What is a purpose? Like, do I even have a purpose? What's Dharma? Became obsessed with it. Eventually started coaching people. Became obsessed with the spiritual journey. Eventually coaching people. And now even with going through my divorce and love and sensuality and healing relationships, like that has become what I primarily teach about even on this podcast. So the beauty of your Dharma is you're in the training grounds right now for what is to come. And so that thing that you're like excited about because you need it, I guarantee you is the thing that you're going to be sharing with other people. And the thing right now that you can share with other people is what you were excited about 3 years ago. What were the problems you had? What were the thoughts you had before going to sleep? And how are you now the living embodiment of who you needed then? Like me 3 years ago, I remember feeling like I want to do more than just like posting on social media about like coaching and launches. It's just feeling really like cut and dry. I just wasn't really liking where the industry was going. And I was like, I knew I wanted to step more into my artistry and creativity, but I didn't really know how. And then in the past 3 years, I've really stepped into that, now creating a whole album and really stepping into my artist archetype of the Dharma archetypes. And now that's something I'm living that 3 years from now, who knows, maybe that's what I'll be teaching people. And it's like the journey continues and it's never the same thing again and again. So what you're excited about, what obstacles you overcome, that's the 4th thing. What are the problems that you've had or obstacles you've helped other people overcome? And then what's your superpower, the thing that comes naturally to you, your magic sauce. And, we help you refine all that. And you're doing one-on-one coaching. So it's like you get a lot of time, 6 months to really incubate with it. And every single week you're learning new tools, the Dharma chakra system, the journey spiral, all sorts of things, 2 months of like coaching fundamentals, 2 months of Dharma coaching, 2 months of business. It goes by fast and you come out like a laundry machine as another person on the other side. So I'm curious for you, Kenya, like, let's say someone's listening to this, or like, this all sounds so amazing, but I'm so busy and I don't have time for this.
It really doesn't require much of your time, first and foremost. I mean, think about how much time we spend like watching Netflix or scrolling on Instagram. Like,
oh God, have you ever put the time things on Instagram?
I
Sometimes
have.
I'm 8 hours a day.
I know. And sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I'm on it that much, but we are. So first and foremost, it doesn't take too much of your time, but also the investment of your time is so worth it, because investing, I don't know, maybe 5 hours a week, I'd say, maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know all the curriculum that's in there now, but
yeah, it's like we say like 3 hours is like the modules, the Q&A call, and the live pod. So you have live pods, but then on top of that, you can do practice coaching one-on-one with people. We have a group that you can link up. So it's like you could do 1 extra in a week. Now that's 4 hours. You could do 2 extra weeks. So it's like up to you. So minimum 3 hours a week, which like realistically, like we spend more time.
Yeah.
Lord knows what.
It's crazy. Yeah. So just finding that time too, and making it a priority. It's the same thing I tell my fitness clients. They say, well, I don't have time to work out. Say, absolutely, you have time to work out. It's a matter of creating the space to do something that you know is going to benefit you so much afterwards. And I know there were single moms in the program when I was in it, busy, incredibly busy women with high demanding jobs, lawyers, social workers. I mean, right? It's doable. It's more than doable.
Totally, because it's like the next 6 months are going to go by regardless. So you can in 6 months be exactly where you are. You know, I feel this generation, we're very much like, I'll just watch YouTube videos about it. It's like YouTube videos are not going to teach you to become a coach.
No.
Like to coach people, you're like holding space for like really big topics in their lives. You need to have a framework. You need to have a roadmap. You need to practice. You need to get feedback. Like, so now we actually have, when you're practicing, you do feedback forms, you submit videos of yourself. So there's like a lot of like coaching feedback. So you can see like, again, like you can go on like whatever pre-recorded coaching website. You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that live experience that it takes. You also witness me coaching people live on the pods. And then there's dozens of hours of myself and the other coaches practicing. So you see it, and we also break it down. Like we'll break down the video of like, okay, notice here, we asked an open-ended question. Notice here, we brought in the Dharma journey spiral. Notice here. So it's like, you're actually like seeing these tools stripped back. And truth be told, I have seen it work with every single niche. And so that's what's really cool about it, is like, you don't have to actually go and find a niche. Like, oh, do these people have money? Do those people have money? But it's like, who was I a part of? Like, you were part of social workers. And so tell me about your clients.
Yeah,
now.
My clients are social workers, teachers, stay-at-home moms, lawyers, paralegals. Like, because when I started,
because they resonate with you because you've been there.
Yeah. And when I started, I was like, so my background obviously is in psychology, right? And trauma. And I quickly learned that those of us with very high demanding jobs are much more susceptible to having a unregulated nervous system. So that was what I was leaning into. I was like, not only am I getting fit, not only am I looking better, feeling more confident, but I'm actually regulating my nervous system. And so the women that come to me are women like me who are under high stress, maybe have a lot of unresolved trauma, and they're doing all the things that they think that they should be doing, but they're not really getting anywhere. And so a huge part of all my programs is a regulation of the nervous system. And that in of itself is going to completely change everything, you know.
Nervous system regulation is so important. We actually have that in the curriculum. I don't know if we had it back when you did it. It's now in the curriculum as well, of like looking at if your client is in fight, flight, fawn, freeze, what that means, using energetic hygiene in your coaching. You know, I see a lot of coaches, they're just like, okay, now I'm coaching someone else. They're not clearing their energies. They're taking everything on. They don't set boundaries with their clients. Now they're thinking about their problems at night, you know, feeling responsible personally of like, oh, I need to get this client this thing. And it's like, and then it feels heavy. And what I see happen, I'm just going to be honest, most people who do certifications overall never become coaches. I'm being real.
It's true.
Most people who become a health coach, become a yoga teacher, become any certification, hypnotherapist, NLP, they don't actually create businesses doing it because they're still in that like, probably they had one experience that they didn't feel comfortable doing it. And then they created a story for themselves that I'm not a good coach. And that's why we have baked in the program halfway through, we say, start charging people $1.
That's good.
Because if you can charge people $1, now I'm getting a little bit used to asking for an energetic exchange because it is an energetic exchange. You know, you're investing in your coaching, you know, career and all of the other things we've invested into to get to where we are today, like trauma therapy, you know, all the things. And then we teach you in the business training, okay, now here's how, like, according to what your niche is, here's how to set up a price that for some of, and I'm not saying for everyone, but for our students who already have a background in some kind of coaching, just like you had a fitness coaching background, some people have yoga coaching backgrounds, other kinds of backgrounds, a lot of them by the time they graduate are already making their incomes as coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of understanding that it is an energetic exchange and the value that you're giving, you really can't put a price on. You know, when people say like, charge your worth. It's like, what does that even mean? You know,
it's like you're worth everything. Yeah, that's like one of the things. It's like charge your worth. It's like, yeah, I'm worth $1 million. Yeah. Well, that's not the economic price of a coaching session. And then so then people hear these things. They say some astronomical number. The person says no, and then they don't get it. So it's like I would much rather, if I started off coaching, charge $90 for a session, actually get clients.
Yeah, and you'll find too when you're living in that frequency of purpose, you like attract clients. Like it's rare that I'm like trying to find people to come work with me. Like they come to you and then you're not really worried
about. In fact, you get to be discerning about who you work with.
Oh, I'm at a place where I pick and choose who I want to work with. And I base that off of someone's energy. What is your energy coming into this program? Right. And then I'm able to see if I'm able to help them.
And that's the most amazing thing because then you get to work with your soulmate clients, like people that you're just like, I so get where you're at because I was there too. And then they're like, you're reading my mind. And it's like, I'm not, I just know this problem so well because I was that. And it's like that, those are the best coaches out there. And that's what we really like help you refine as a Dharma coach is like, it's not about like, oh, I'm living my purpose and I'm perfect and I'm the Queen of England. It's like, no, it's like, I struggled with being a single mom. I struggled with being an empty nester. I struggled with graduating from college and not knowing what to do. I struggled with, you know, having a divorce. I struggled with immigrant parents, like whatever that thing is that we know inside and out, we have the wisdom, we have the tools. And then what we help you do is like how to like package that, how to refine that, how to create containers, which gives people a feeling of safety, you know, because I could just come and blabber you all of the advice, which you're probably doing. And then the person doesn't take any of the advice because they don't value it. They don't see it as a coaching session. They haven't paid for it. And again, it comes back to like this abundance mindset that if we don't value our wisdom, how do we expect someone else to?
Just about to say that. Yeah. You have to be so sure that you are here for a reason, that what you have to say is important, that you are here to serve others. And when you're so embodied in that, building a business, getting clients, making money, it becomes easy. Like, you know, so I think again, through DCI I really honed in on my Dharma through DCI. I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but going through that program, I realized I am here to help purpose-driven individuals be healthy, be happy, and healed. And however that looks, healthier in their body, healthier in their mindset, happier with their finances, right? I've been able to kind of make businesses out of that staple of I am here to help people be healthy and happy and healed. And it's exciting.
So beautiful. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story and showing people that it's possible and that you were able to do it really in a short amount of time. And since then, your full-time career is doing this and you're radiant and you're shining and you're doing what you love. And it's just, you know, I feel like sometimes people need to see it because they can compare themselves to like someone who's an author or been doing it for a long time. And it's like, you know, in the past 3 years, you have made this your complete reality. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And it's exciting too. And it helps you, you know, it helps you in so many other ways than just live your purpose. Like we talked about with our divorces, right? Like if I was stuck at my corporate job in Orange County, I don't know what I would have done. But because I have the freedom to work wherever, to help whoever, I'm able to get out. I'm able to experience new things. I'm able to heal in the way that I needed to heal instead of being trapped or boggled down, or perhaps for some women, maybe not even the ability to leave a relationship.
Oh yeah. If I had a 9-to-5 job in Miami, I would have been stuck there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for working online and being a coach because I can do it anywhere I go. And that is incredible. The sky is the limit. And then there are seasons, like both of us went through a healing season that we were able to step back, but then you're not fired from your job. It's like you can step back. And then actually when you come back into it, you have more wisdom and more lessons, and actually like refines your niche a little bit more of like, now I have more tools to the toolkit to add to it. So that's what's so incredible. So doors are open right now to become a Dharma coach at the Highest Self Institute. This is a 6-month training where we teach you everything start to finish. And even if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't know if I want to be a coach, but I know I want to step more into what my sole purpose is. This is for you. We have like 50-50 people who are doing it for their own education, people who want to do it for their coaching. And if you want to do it for your own education, like there's no requirements. You can like really do it at your own pace. And if you do want to make a career from it, we have so many resources. Like it really is an institute. If I haven't mentioned, I have 8 planets in Capricorn. So it is school here. And I love to take the hood off of the car and be like, what actually happens? Like, how much do we actually charge? Like, how do we actually set these sessions up? How do we deal with different, client obstacles? If your client, you do a discovery call, I don't have the time, how to have that conversation. If someone says, oh, I don't have the money, how to have the conversation instead of just, a lot of us are just like, okay, that's fine. It's like, these are actually opportunities for deeper coaching. And so, I have been coaching my entire profession at this point. Over 14 years, I have been a content creator and a coach. I became a coach when I was in college. So myself, my 2 co-founders each also have over a decade of coaching experience. So you're really hearing from us and people in many different stages, people who've been doing it for a long time, people who just started doing it. So it's really just an incredible support system, amazing community, incredible friends, like just the networks and connections. Like we call ourselves the rainbow sheep because we are not the black sheep at the summit. We are the rainbow sheep. It's so much more fabulous. And it's just like on the other side, just to be able to be like, yes, I'm making money doing what I love, more money than I could have ever made possible, with more freedom, working with people that I love, doing the work that I know that source put me on this planet to do, and it's fully mine. Like nothing on earth to me is more powerful than that. So if you're curious, you want more program details, we're also doing free one-on-one discovery calls with Nata on our team. So you can head over to highestselfinstitute.com or just head over to the show notes. There's a direct link there. We also have a free workshop series. So you can experience a little tasty taste of what happens in our workshop series. You can also find that link below. Book a free one-on-one call, learn more about it. We also have questions available. The workshops are live, so I will be on them. We'll have our coaches, we'll have different students on them. So that's a really good way to learn more. And if you're listening to this later, head over to the show notes anyways to join the waitlist for next time that doors open up again. I am so excited to see you in class, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, trust your inner guidance, close your eyes and listen. Swing to let go, swing to let go. So trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, trust your inner guidance, close your